Hey, yo, everybody, welcome to the Amalgam Games Lab. I'm your host, Shannon Hagler, alongside Keena Johnston.
I've been playing way too much Apex.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if the Faith and Apex are related, but who's to say at this point?
Let's find out. This is the show where we talk about the gaming industry and games at large. If you enjoy what you see, make sure to check out the Amalgam Show.
We talked about Pokemon and Pokemon Go this week.
Oh,
that was
really?
fun. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We went raiding on Sunday, and fucking no Dialgas popped up.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That game sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, check that out. If you have any questions for us, leave a comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. Check us out on all social media at The Amalgam Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We still don't know when the website is coming up, do we?
It should be soon. I need to talk to Nina about that.
Cool. All right. Website coming soon. Haha.
And content for the website.
Yay. Ooh, content.
All produced by you so far.
I've got
if you like scaffolding, I'd like to publish that, but I don't think people like scaffolding. Which is why New York is a death trap.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So let's get into the show. Before we deep dive into the stories, what have you been playing lately?
I mean, I didn't write down. I finally started playing Final Fantasy IX in earnest.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. I enjoy it. It took me a while.
It's a slow burn.
It is a slow burn, and it's very slow.
Yeah, especially because for the majority of the first disc, I think.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, 9 is the one one of the ones I've only finished once.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm replaying it as well, but for the majority of the first disc, your team is split. Your party is split.
It's split, comes back. It's very D&D.
Yes.
In terms of, which is what Final Fantasy is based on.
Yeah.
In terms of how you go to a city, split up, and then you do the ATEs, and then
those have always frustrated me because it's giving you an insight into what other characters are doing while the camera's off them.
Yeah.
But it also just takes so long.
Yeah.
And half that shit's completely irrelevant anyway.
Yeah.
It's just character building.
Yeah.
Which the characters are strong enough to stand on their own.
Yeah.
In the dialogue they already have, they are really, really good characters. And that's one of the strengths of Final Fantasy IX is its cast.
Yeah.
The characters are all extremely good.
How many characters are there? Is it?
So there is...
Because I've only got the 4. And for a while now,
So you've got Vivi, Garnet, Zidane, and Steiner.
Yeah. She just changed her name to Dago.
Yeah. God. And then there's...
I just came across the Red Mage, which is like a rabbit-looking person.
Freya. She's badass.
Yeah.
She's one of the best characters in the game.
She's not in my party, but Zidane just met her. So and I got the name, and I'm like, oh, I do get more than just the 4.
Yeah. So you get Zidane, Steiner, Garnet, Vivi, Freya, Quina, Aiko. I can't remember the last one. But I think there's 8 in total.
Okay.
I believe.
Because it took me a while, but I'm like, oh, these are just the classes from the first game.
More or less.
Yeah, and then if there's more, because I think there's only the 6 classes in the original game.
Yeah, and that was kind of the point though. Yeah. Final Fantasy IX was meant to be a swan song.
Yeah.
Because it was the last one on the PS1. It was moving into a new generation. They were going to try new stuff with 10. They had already deviated from the script with 7 and 8. Yeah. This was like hey, remember Final Fantasy with the knights and the mages and all that kind of stuff? And it's that kind of boiled down. To me, it seems more like Final Fantasy 6 and the original, the first 5 in terms of steampunk, but cities and pseudo modern. Yeah.
Whereas the first 5 are very Dungeons and Dragons and knights and they are very in the past.
It's kind of pulling all the aesthetics from the first 6 together and creating this sort of
greatest hits.
Yeah, sort of this fantastical world with a story that absolutely stands on its own. It doesn't need the rest of its stuff. And it can be it's quite emotional. Like I said, when you're getting to If you're getting to the Freya stuff, you're getting to some of the best stuff in the game.
Yeah,
like some of the really, really cool stuff. You're like, holy shit! Like, yeah.
Already the interesting part of Vivi's story in terms of like, I don't know what it is yet, but in terms of like the puppets and the big mages, I forget what they're called.
Black mages. They just call them black mages.
Yeah. They're called something specific.
Like I think the it's just like Vivi's just a different type of black mage.
Yeah.
And they always just have numbers and and honestly you don't have to play long to start getting into some of that stuff. Like they don't pull any punches pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the whole story, and even the main characters that are a little bit like Steiner is one of the best characters in Final Fantasy. Even though he's a giant dickwad at the start and you really don't like him.
Yeah, no, he's really grating.
He is.
Like, and I know where he's coming from, but I'm like, can we just move past this trope? Like, Garnet's like, just keep saying, calm your farm, let me do what I want.
Yeah. He's an extremely grating character for a very distinct purpose. Like, they absolutely take full advantage of that, as opposed to other games where they're just grating for no reason. Yeah. They take full advantage of his personality tropes and the fact that you don't like him when you first see him. Yeah. Also, his boss, like his because he's the knight, like his strength and everything. Like, when you've got him in the party, he's extremely useful.
Yeah. The other thing I realized is that the only other PS1 game I played is Final Fantasy VII, and this is way more cinematic.
Yes.
Like, not only are there more CG cutscenes, but it just in general, like the battle, like transitions and stuff, are way more cinematic than 7 was. I'm like, oh, they actually built and got better. And
if you ever get the chance to play 8, you'll see that progression.
Yeah,
like
I assumed 8 would be more and better. Yeah.
8 was the one that really like. I remember when I was a kid, like 8 was the first one where I would be playing the game and a CG cutscene would be playing and my dad would walk in the room and be like, is that fucking real? Like, obviously now, but like at the time, looking at those character models in CG, they were incredible.
Yeah, and even like the CG cutscenes now, even despite the remasters, still look great. Like, they have their own art style, which means like as a minimal like tech... detail as there is, they still work.
Yes.
Like Final Fantasy 7 and especially 8 don't necessarily work with their art styles now. 7 more so. But whereas just looking at the cutscenes, it's like, oh yes, this is great. One thing is with no voice acting, just because they are so well animated, and just people like just miming. I'm like, I get it. Thank God 10 came along.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, I think that if 8 was able to have the chance to get that same sort of HD polish that 9 and 7 have had, where...
that's the version I'm waiting for, and that's when I'll be able to...
Where the actual, like... And it's not necessarily the CG cutscenes, but it's the in-game stuff gets smoothed over. Yeah. Like, the way 9 looks on the Switch is nothing like what it looks like on the original. It's a fairly stark contrast. Yeah. Backgrounds look fairly similar, but that's
all painted and
nice.
2D
and 2D rendered.
Yeah.
It's the 3D animation that has been definitely given like a complete once over. So if they ever get 8, you should definitely give that a shot. Because I feel like, you'd enjoy 8.
I enjoyed what I was playing of 8, but the character models were too grating, and then I couldn't make out any of their emotions, which is like the pixel art does that better.
Yeah.
And then
it's because they're not stylized as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They're kind of the first Final Fantasy where they went with a more realistic, proportional human model.
Yeah.
So they do animate, and there's animation in there that's really good, and they animate well with what they're saying, but by a modern standard, you can lose some of their emotion in translation, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because that game has one of the best emotional arcs for a single character.
Yeah.
The cast is take it or leave it, but a single character does have like a pretty good journey in that game.
Final Fantasy 9 is good. I'll keep playing that.
It's a good on and off game.
Yes.
Especially because the Switch has got like the
auto
suspend
saves.
Mode, it's got the auto saves and the continue system, so you don't need to worry about getting to a save point just to save. I've been playing that on and off as well. It's also hard.
Is it?
Yeah,
like the first Black Mage I had to fight because it was just Zidane by himself. I'm like, fuck.
Oh no, you haven't even gotten to
where it gets hard. Yeah, and that one's just like
not just hard. Like it's just the game itself, the general battles. That's the stock standard problem with most JRPGs of this ilk is that the stock standard battles are pretty easy. And you can like get through them pretty quickly. The problem is the the difficulty spike at certain boss battles where you either need to know tactically going into the battle exactly how, like, what you're going to do and exactly plan it out, which you very rarely know the first time you step into one of those battles. It's like, well, I'm not sitting here playing this game with a wiki guide. So, and even back then, I wouldn't have been playing with a wiki guide. Like, I would have just been trying. So I would have had to have done this boss, 3 or 4 times to really understand what it's doing, which is fine. But then the other side is that, like, you can go around and just massacre things all day and you get that sort of increase in level, but you always run the risk of, like, I hate being over leveled at the end of the game. Like, if the final boss is too easy because I've over leveled, then that sucks.
I did that in Final Fantasy 2. I was using a wiki guide just because I wanted to power through those older, harder, more obtuse level design games. And then it's like, here's a blood sword which does proportional amount of damage, and then the final boss. It was so easy. I'm like, well, that was a little bit anticlimactic. Maybe I shouldn't have got that sword. And
like I said, it's not a difficulty spike that's unmanageable. It's just like, I've found myself on more than one occasion getting up to a boss that I remember and being like, oh shit, this guy, okay, and going into the battle and, like, handling it fairly well, and then forgetting that, like, oh wait, they've got this one attack that just wipes you. Fuck, right, okay, so I need to make sure I A, get this done quickly, and B, build up a strategy to at least have one of them there. And, like, it's a game that does... It's one of the games in the later Final Fantasies that actually relies on magic. Like, you do need to have your magic sorted and, like, okay, I need to be casting this and that and doing this and doing that and the other.
I remember in Final Fantasy, pretty much 3, 4, 5, having, like, buffing all the time with my white mages.
And that's the thing, is that, like, in 7, 8, and I guess kind of 10, those sort of more popular Final Fantasies, buffing and debuffing is not exactly... pronounced in the gameplay. Like, it's just generally like, oh, if you level up high enough and you got a good enough weapon, you just hit harder, so therefore you win. But in 9 and 12 definitely, and 13 definitely.
13.
They put an emphasis on not just your physical strength, but your ability to buff and debuff. So like 10's really good for it. 10's not crazy for it, because a lot of the stuff you can do passively, like you just equip the right armor and sets, and you'll have, like, protect and shell just ready to go, and then you have, like, an auto thing attached to you as well, so at the start of the battle you just cast haste on everyone and then you're done. And it's not like those buffs are really necessary, because with the turn system you can kind of just plan it out. You're like, I'll just cast this there so that I don't get hit by that, and just move down the list. But 12 and 13 definitely, like, buffs and debuffs are huge. And that's the good thing about it, is that the older games, they tend to make the bosses immune to most status effects, which is really frustrating. Because it means, like, oh, okay, so if it's immune to literally every status effect, it means all I've got to use is my physical attack. And I have a party of mostly mages, because that's the way the game's designed. So what the fuck are you doing to me? Like, why is this a thing? Whereas in 12 and 13, they will be immune to some status conditions, but that will give you an idea on what status conditions you should use in order to take advantage of them. Which is, brilliant game design. So that's fun. Anything else?
Play Titanfall 2. Talked about this on the Amalgam show. Really weird. I went into this, like, a lot of people at the time were saying this is the best military shooter campaign that's ever happened.
No.
And I'm like, so I went in with that, with, like, a little bit of, like, hesitation. I'm like, probably not that good. And then I'm like, it's not. I can see where people are coming from, because I really like the fundamental shoot, wall running, double jumping, Titan stuff. That's all fucking solid. Like,
it's not a military shooter, though.
It's military.
You are the military. Sci-fi shooter.
That's military sci-fi shooter.
But it's not like it's not a Call of Duty. It's not a Battlefield. Like, it's not trying to take place in the real world. It's a sci-fi shooter.
And even with that, and then the level design to take advantage of the wall running, and the level I really liked is the time travel one.
Yes.
I'm like, this is smart.
So, like, did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Cool.
I burned through it. It was like $7, and then I burned through it.
It's not a long game, and that's why, like when people say it's the best, like, single player shooter campaign type thing, like, I don't think it's not necessarily that it's the best. It's the best one we had in years. But I don't line it up with Call of Duty and Battlefield I put this one more in the ilk of Halo, Doom, like that kind of shooter. Where there is more like, instead of it just being about the shooting, it is about the level design around the mechanics and therefore tying them all in together.
It kind of sucks with the story, because I was expecting more from the story, because I have, like, recently playing Doom and Wolfenstein. They are good stories. Even Doom is minimalist. I still like what I'm doing, whereas this, I didn't really care about what was going on. I cared about the robot BT, but other than that, I'm like, okay. And then, trying to think, I'd seen the flying boss, like pretty much the final boss, in like reviews and stuff ages ago. I'm like, oh, cool, the boss design is going to be all different. It's not. Like, the bosses, except for that one flying boss, they're all the same. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I was thinking today earlier, preparing for this, I'm like, I would have been cool if they all had their own different gimmick, and then you get their own, like, you get to pick up like an attachment from them. Oh, I just want Titanfall Mega Man.
Yes.
I'm like, that would be cool.
That would be cool. But no, it's the thing with Titanfall 2 is that it stands on the backs of every other game that came before it. And the reason people call it the best single-player shooter campaign in years is because there had been years of bullshit before it. There had been years of not good stuff, and everything was moving to multiplayer focused. Even Titanfall 1 was a multiplayer-only game. And there's also like a certain amount of, weirdly enough, even though Titanfall 1 has no actual traditional campaign, there is a certain amount of lore and story pulled from that game to make the second one worth it. So the smart pistol.
Yes.
Do you remember that part?
At the end?
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Do you know where that comes from?
Probably Quake.
No. The smart pistol, the pistol that you pull from BT's face in that game, was a pistol that was in Titanfall 1 that was balanced incorrectly and overpowered.
Makes sense. Oh, and they got rid of it?
Yeah, and they rebalanced it, and it was one of the things they did as a nod to Titanfall 1.
Okay.
Like, hey guys, remember that pistol that we fucked up? Yeah, here it is, and go wild.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing about that game, is that it totally knows what it is. It has no qualms with that, and it just leans into that, which is what makes it so good. It's not like Call of Duty or Battlefield, which are trying to be something else now. Like, they're trying to be the popular Battlefield, like battle royale game, or trying to ape onto the, like, we're the most popular multiplayer game in the world. And they fail at everything because of that. Whereas Titanfall just knows what it is and just sticks with it. Same with Apex.
I think something between like Titanfall and Titanfall 2 and Doom is that, like, Doom had the characters, like I knew who the characters were, whereas these ones just had, like, you don't get to talk, like interact with the enemies really, you just hear the South African guy talk a lot. And I'm like, okay, would have been like,
but
I just like the core story. I just wasn't into the gameplay.
But the thing is, the thing that I look at Titanfall 2 now and look at Apex specifically as like the kind of where they've evolved with storytelling. Because like that's a very similar trope they're using in Apex, is where the characters are just talking, or you know information about them, but there's no actual storyline. But there's story in Apex. There's fuck tons of story in Apex. There's world building. There's characters. It's such a beautifully constructed world, and they've kind of like, you can see the progression through Titanfall of like trying to figure out how to tell a story without using a story mode. They put in a single player campaign in Titanfall 2 because they just...
Everyone asked for it.
Yeah, they just realised, like, Titanfall... Like, if you're going to do a full-priced $60 US or $100 Australian game, you're going to need something more than just multiplayer to make that work. And so adding that campaign made sense. But if you're going to do it free-to-play and you don't need to add a campaign, then you can use those techniques to your advantage. And it really, really shines in Apex. But also they're working on a Titanfall 3. So, like, the thing that I would say is that, like, Titanfall 2 was a... It's weird, because Titanfall 1, because it was a multiplayer-only game, you can't really say anything about it story-wise. But Titanfall 2, you can say, is a very good building block for the rest of it. So, Titanfall 3, if they do another story campaign, will hopefully be better yet again. And it's just... Again, like I said, Titanfall is just sort of, like... I mean, Titanfall was Respawn's first game out of the block when they formed. It was like, here's Titanfall, this is our thing. It's like, okay, cool, so this is their baby. We'll see how that turns out, but they've got other stuff coming out.
They've got a lot of stuff coming out. I didn't realise the studio was as big as it was.
It grew fairly quickly, especially after they got purchased by EA. No, they did. They're in a partnership. They're not owned by EA.
I think that's the case. I think, although I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't believe they're owned by EA yet.
Yeah. Played Apex as well. Finally unlocked Mirage.
Oh, nice.
Which I seem to be better for whatever reason. Maybe I'm just actually getting better. I got him last night. Yeah.
No, so do you just have Mirage? Or do you have Caustic as well?
I don't have. No, not him.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that character. He's really funny.
Yeah.
Like him and Pathfinder are the funniest. I usually laugh at pretty much every line they say.
Pathfinder's my favourite.
Yeah.
I don't play him because I don't know how to play him, but whenever he's on the team, I am happy.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Even the stuff of like hold your breath if you've got if you have respiratory systems, like just simple stuff. I'm like, this is just clever and dumb.
Yeah.
It was really fun going back to Titanfall 2 and then seeing like what Pathfinder is based on in those.
Yes.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then I always like jumped into every. I'm like, robots. Oh, they're friendly shit.
Yeah.
Because they just work a mind.
And Apex has its battle pass out now? Today? Is it today or
today.
is it yesterday?
Okay,
today. Good. Yeah. So check that out. Octane, the new character, all those rumours were true.
Yeah. Yeah, he's never kept anything a secret.
Except to Apex the game.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, good point. That did leak, but that was kind of pseudo-intentional leaks.
Yeah. Like it leaked in the days leading up to it as well. It was all intentional, but like for the most part, that game was pretty much
there was like a big leak that came out and just no one paid attention to it.
Yeah.
It was like, a Titanfall 2 Battle Royale, and we're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
But the thing is, like that leak was even incorrect because it's not a Titanfall 2 Battle Royale.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I even think that maybe, apart from the fact that it is a bunch of people drop onto an island and last person standing wins, apart from that, I wouldn't even call it a Battle Royale anymore.
I mean,
I don't think it's that pigeonholed.
It's all the buzzwords you said last time we talked about it.
Yeah, true.
It's all of that.
Yeah, it is all of that. It's just that there's weird things about it, like the fact that there's a respawning mechanic in the game. Just seems to like be completely antithetical to the whole battle royale thing of like, no, you die, you're done.
Yeah.
But because it's a SWAT quad based game, it's changed that, and because there's a limited number of players, it's changed that, and then there's the hero classes. So that's like everything's
it's
just
battle royale too.
Yeah, sure. Electric Boogaloo, got it.
It is though, like it isn't the progression of it to the point where Fortnite's stolen the ping system. Apparently the ping system doesn't work very well, which means they rushed it. Rushed it.
Just like they rushed Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite was rushed.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just like Fortnite is the most fucking just diabolical.
Slapped together.
It is just the most cynical and most like emblematic of the world as a whole. It's this thing that was originally something else, got thrown together, like was in development hell for like 7 years, finally got pushed out the door in an incomplete state, like fumbled around at the bottom of the barrel for about 3 months. They found something else they could tack onto it, slapped it on the back end really hastily. It suddenly became the biggest thing on the planet, and ever since then, they've basically turned into the modern Call of Duty, where anything else that's popular, they just take.
Yeah.
Like, they'll just... We'll throw a Thanos in our game, because that's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, whatever. I don't like Fortnite. I don't like it. I don't like it because it is a completely, like, a macro of all of the popular tropes.
Yeah.
Homogenized into one. There is not an original bone in that game's body, and yet it's the most popular thing on the planet, and that frustrates me to no end.
I think because it's just a big amalgamation of everything. It's why that's popular. Like that's like because it takes all the other popular things that aren't as popular as it, puts it all into one big pot, and then you have
that. And that's the thing that frustrates me about it, though, is that like there are so many people out there who busted their ass to make the things that Fortnite are stealing, that are original ideas, and Fortnite just takes them and makes a buttload of cash from it, and there's zero consequence. You know, we've got the lawsuits that are happening over the dances in Fortnite and stuff like that, and that's probably going to go fucking nowhere because it's already stalled. Yeah. Well, one of the lawyers is like, we're going to do this, like, the the last ruling in that case basically left a crack in the door, and he's like, once this crack in the door is kicked open, we're going again. It's like, okay, so this thing is never going to end. Yeah. But again, it's the things of like, they're constantly aping things from other people, whether it be the entire genre, or the mechanics within that genre. Like even the crafting system is like, Jesus Christ, guys, we've had Minecraft for over a decade. We know, like we get it. It just makes me feel like every single decision that has ever been made about Fortnite is completely and utterly callous and businesslike. And yes, I understand why that's a thing, but I fucking hate it. Yeah. I despise it for that.
That's fair.
So that's my Fortnite rant. Anything else you played?
Beat Saber DLC. They finally put out DLC for that. About $20 Australian. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
What's the DLC? What's the?
It's just more songs.
Okay. Are these licensed songs or are they original songs?
I think they're collaborated licensed songs because it's. I don't think
because they're not original scores; they're like remixes.
Yeah, they collaborate. Like the original stuff is all like collaborated with. Right. Like they go to them and then like, hey, we'll like fine tune these to be good for core Beat Saber because I think you can get them on other things. But what is it? They also do. Yeah, you can't have normal license music, like on PlayStation at least. You can't pop Queen in there, and like Queen's not on there. It's the Beat Saber Monster Cat Music Pack Volume 1. Yes. Monster Cat seems to be like a label? Like an indie label or something?
Sure.
And they just put that, and like all those songs have like the Monster Cat logo and like the... just on the side, you can just see it, and you're like, cool, cute.
Right.
Songs are fun. I've had half the songs are fun. The other ones are like way too electronic-y for me.
Oh, okay.
They're all electronic, but they're like
I don't mind a bit
industrial. I think I don't know. I'm not very good with music terms, but yeah. And I'm glad they're all on Spotify as well because I have songs stuck in my head that I need to process.
Good.
So what have you been up to?
Boy, not a lot. I finished up the Anthem review, so that was kind of a lot of time.
Which means you finished Anthem. Did you?
Yeah. I've been tossing up whether or not to add a disclaimer to that review, but I've been trying to figure out how to fucking word it. Of like a one sentence thing that's basically trying to pull together of like, I am well aware this is a live game and it will most likely improve or get better as time goes on. These are my opinions as of the release of the game, and I'm not going back to play it again. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to update this review every whatever months or whatever. I mean, there's the new content drop was supposed to be out by the end of this month. I don't know if it has because I haven't kept up with it. Yeah. But all I know is that they continue to release patches that are fucking and unfucking the game constantly. Yeah. There was the patch that like briefly made the game fun because the loot system is completely fucked, and they patched it. They put a patch that introduced a bug which meant that loot just dropped more frequently. And everyone
was like, all what people want.
And everyone was like, this is great. And then the developer was like, actually, that's a bug. We're going to patch it out in the next patch. And it was gone within a day. And it's like, And it didn't make any sense because none of the loot that was dropping is in the in-game store. So it's not like they were losing money on it. No one was purchasing that shit. That's all just the guns and everything. And the game's not competitive, so there's no reason to be like, this person shouldn't get an advantage using their weaponry. It just makes no fucking sense. Any way you slice it, that game makes no sense. And you probably noticed from my score that like I've been slowly dropping that score in my head as I went along. And so I finally landed on where it was because I couldn't, like, even though you're right, we had the discussion a while back of like there is a certain baseline of how good a game is nowadays just because of the technology we have. It's even with it being that baseline good, it falls apart in so many levels. It can't. It just drops again. It just can't. It can't stand on its own.
And especially since Division 2 coming out and having relatively few issues and a fuck ton of content in it. Like, to me, Division 2 sounds like it just did what AC Odyssey did. In terms of AC Odyssey, fuck ton of content, and we're going to give you more. So
well, it sounds, specifically with Division, it sounds like the Division 2 picks up specifically where the Division 1 left off.
Instead of Destiny, which stripped a fuck ton of it out. Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of doing the thing of like, I guess because you're playing as a new character in a new scene, so you do not have you do have everything all of those things ripped away, but the types of content that were at the end of Division 1 are at the beginning of Division 2. The breadth of content that was at the end of Division 1 is in the beginning of Division 2. The mechanics and all that kind of stuff from the end of Division 1 is at the beginning. So you get this kind of weird feeling of continuation where if you did play Division 1 all the way through and played all its post-game stuff, when you jump into Division 2 you don't feel like you're starting from square one. You jump in, you're like, oh, there's shit to do, awesome, and you just feel like you're playing the same game again. Which, good or bad, who knows?
It sounds really good. Everyone seems to be really liking it, as opposed to what Destiny did, which is what everyone thought was what Division just did. Just you built all these things, you fixed everything we like, and then just fucking cut all that shit out, start again.
There are some complaints I've heard. Apparently there are some performance issues on the PS4, which seems odd considering that's the baseline console for this generation. How can you have issues on that system but not on the others?
We're bigger.
2, it's because it does have a lot of the stuff in Division 1 that was your end game content were these sets of accessories. So you'd have hat, shirt, whatever, all the bits and pieces, and if they were all under the exact same brand, then you'd get a buff bonus. You can now do that at the start of the Division 2, but instead what they've put at the end game is your special abilities.
Yes.
Which is weird. Yeah. Because it's the opposite thing that Anthem does, or that any other loot shooter does, where it gives you the ability to choose your loadout at the start, level it up, and then maybe play around with it. But your actual special ability, the thing that makes your character class unique, isn't unlockable to the end of the game.
Interesting.
So that causes a lot of the current classes to just feel samey.
Yeah.
It all feels the same
until you reach end game.
It's that's not what you want. But yeah, Division not. Honestly, I'm burnt out on the Schluters.
I get that.
So I'm gonna leave Division 2 for a while because Anthem's left a bad taste in my mouth.
That's fair. It's just Division 2 is now the gold standard of what those types of games should be at launch.
What a sequel to those types of games should be, maybe.
Well, even a starter.
Because again, the thing with Anthem is that I'm not necessarily that mad about the content that's in there. It's everything surrounding that is making that game fall apart. Because if it launches with a slim amount of content, I understand why. Because if you're building it over time, you want people to come back and play that. And again, if I'm giving it the full benefit of the doubt, I would say that this game is designed for people who don't have 80 hours a week to sink into a game. It's for the people who come home from work, want to play an hour or two of a thing, they play an hour or two of Anthem. That's going to be a decent chunk of time of your time that's going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a certain percentage of the content that's in there. And then if you do that for, say, a month, if you were the kind of person to play an hour or two after work, and you don't even play games on the weekends because you spend time with your family or friends or whatever, but you play an hour or two every night, and if you did that for a month, you could finish Anthem.
Yeah.
In that sort of play style. And then with that design in mind, okay, once that month is over, hey, new content comes out, so that person can continue to keep playing those games over. That's the benefit of the doubt argument to that. The Division 2, I think, is a way better way of trying to create sequel. If you're going to sequelize these types of games, which in theory really shouldn't, they should just
be forever. Yeah,
they should just launch, be live, and then just evolve over time. But if they're going to be sequelized, you want to start your sequel pretty much where your first one left off. Otherwise, you run the risk of alienating your current fan base.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, so I was writing, and probably will just finish it anyway, a different piece that isn't a review for the website that was talking about what I kind of ran into over the last couple of weeks, which is sort of the idea of wanting to go back to a familiar place. So I played a bunch of new games this year, and none of them have really set my world on fire.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had that thing of being drawn back to games that I know I like, that I've played in the past, that I've enjoyed. So I was trying to write a piece on that and sort of about how familiar things are nice, and then Google went and announced a fucking bombshell. So
yeah.
But it's that time of year, decade, whatever, the new Pokemon game was announced, so I went and played me a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So I've been playing through Ultra Sun at the moment, in sort of like whatever spare time I do have.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3DS game, so I can just play it while I'm watching TV, or I can play it while I'm doing something else. Me and my fiance are currently watching through the Marvel movies to get caught up.
I did that last year, and I just don't have the energy to do that again.
Yeah. Well, we have like a lot of them we've only seen once, maybe like in the cinema, and they're all on stand now. Or most of them. I feel like they're missing a couple, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I forget.
The Iron Mans are up there. The Thors are up there.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think Ragnarok's up there.
No, Ragnarok's up there. Actually, I think Dark World might not be up there.
Okay. There's a bunch of, like, I was trying to look for a couple of Disney movies the other day to watch, and, like, Hercules isn't up there, Aladdin's not up there. We're just like, what?
Yeah, but Disney's always had that weird thing about their vault.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. I'm like, oh, okay.
Aladdin makes sense, too, because they want you to see that new one.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, yeah, we've been watching through those, so Pokemon Ultra Sun's been a really good one to sort of play while in the background of that and sort of build up a team and just kind of have fun playing with new Pokemon. Get me hyped for that game at the end of the year, because that thing looks. The more I'm looking into it, the more I'm reading into it, the more that game looks really cool.
Yeah,
and the more I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Probably won't find any more information about that though until next month, when Korokoro leaks around the 10th usually.
Okay. What's Korokoro?
So Korokoro is a magazine in Japan, and they tend to have. I don't know if they're exactly Pokemon focused, but they're anime and general pop culture focused, and they tend to get most of the exclusive images and press releases before like trailers and stuff like that. Yeah. So the way the Pokemon news cycle tends to go is, and the way they've gone for the last like 3 games they've announced is the announcement in February or early year. The month after the announcement, radio silence. Nothing from the Pokemon company.
Memes.
Yeah. And that usually means that around the 10th, somewhere between the 10th and the 15th of that month.
That week, yeah.
Korokoro scans leak. Now, I'm not sure how this works.
It's just people in Japan scanning it and then uploading it to the internet. They're not leaks, they're just...
No, because they come out before the magazine is published.
Okay.
They always come out before the magazine is published. I'm not sure how the process works, or whether it's actually Korokoro releasing it as like here, have a look at it, or whether it's someone internally or a group of people internally who have been doing this for years, but it seems to happen every time. Anyway, the scan usually following the month after the release is usually just the information we already know. So the one that just came out was like all of the starters and welcome to the Galar region and like the exact same shit we already know.
Is that where we got the information that about the gyms being the stadiums and the Battle Masters?
No. That was a tweet. That was a tweet from the Nintendo America account that was quickly deleted.
That's right. Yeah,
it was not meant to be released yet. So I assume that's probably going to be what the next trailer is going to reveal. But basically, what will happen if history repeats itself, which it has the last 2 or 3 times, so I've got no reason to believe otherwise.
New generation, maybe.
I mean, they did the exact same thing on the 6 and anyway. So
I meant new console generation. That's what I meant.
Maybe, but
we'll see.
I mean, this has been the pattern since they launched the X and Y on 3DS. Yeah. So, we've had our radio silence month with the Korokoro being just what we know. So generally, then what happens is, the month after that, so coming into April, somewhere around the 10th to the 15th, there'll be another leak, and what that will generally entail is some sort of new information. Yeah. So what ends up happening is, and this happened so many times over the last couple of years, the scan will normally include possibly a new Pokemon, possibly box art, possibly legendary Pokemon. Or it could be anything. It could be anything from like the name of the professor all the way through to the name of the protagonists, all the way through to the name of the evil team. Like it could be literally anything in the game. They'll usually reveal something. Yeah. When that happens, it's uploaded. Obviously, CoroCoro is a Japanese magazine, so everything's in Japanese. So there's a mad dash scramble to try and translate the whole thing, try and figure out what it says. 99 times out of 100, there's a translation error because there's like formal Japanese and casual Japanese. And everyone gets the two fucking mixed up.
Yeah.
But generally, there'll be some sort of leak that will allow everyone to be like, what the fuck is this thing? Whatever it might be. Yeah. And then within a week from the CoroCoro leak, the actual trailer will debut in both Japan and America. And the rest of the Western world.
Yeah.
And
English and Japanese.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like they'll do a German, French, a bunch of other ones. It's usually a Spanish, and now you know, since Sun and Moon, Chinese translations as well, both standard and I don't know what the other one's called.
Not standard.
Yeah, 2 versions of Chinese that they put that into.
Yikes.
Which is
so there's 4 versions of Pokemon that come out. Or is it a language option?
It's a language option.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Good. But it's just like it's 2 more localization teams basically.
Yeah.
Because they've done it. I think back in the old days, yes, if you whatever copies were being sent to Spain had the Spanish language option on them. But since like I think X and Y was the first one actually, where it was just like all the cards are the same. You just get to pick your language at the start.
Yeah.
And then depending on which region you're going to, it just sets the default. So like the ones in Australian default to English.
That's usually like the system has your default.
Yeah.
Is X and Y also digital download on eShop? Like
yes.
Yeah.
That's
also makes
probably
sense.
Why. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah, the thing that usually happens is that the CoroCoro leak will correlate to whatever the next trailer is. So whatever the mistakes that were made in the CoroCoro translations usually get rectified by the trailer that follows the week later.
Yeah. With also English localization, which do have different translations.
Yeah. And then you get because a lot of the time you get the Japanese names for the Pokemon, but that's totally different from what the regular name of the Pokemon is or the English name of the Pokemon is. And that can lead to really really fun speculation, but also a lot of just like. I remember Sun and Moon, the leaks and stuff that came out around that time, that just rampant. Like, people would just be like, that means this is gonna happen. And you're like, you are fucking insane. Like, I know it says some weird shit, but you've got this is a Pokemon game. And this is the thing that I wanted to bring here. It's a Pokemon game. At the end of the day, it's not going to be crazy. Yeah. It's going to be fine. It's going to be safe.
Yeah.
It might be more difficult, maybe, because it depends on whether they want to bank on Let's Go being a spin-off series that is focused on kids, and then maybe this is focused on older people. But either way, you're not getting your mind-blowing... You're not getting your Breath of the Wild style game. Yeah. You're going to get something that is, I think, dramatically different from the originals.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a mechanic or two that will create this like sense of, holy shit, that's amazing. And then they can expand on that on the later games and create this entirely different thing. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been kind of playing through that and just kind of using that as a back burner. And I'll be jumping back into Final Fantasy 12 and 10 for a little bit before Sekiro comes out, because that's the one I think I want to play next. Which will be later this week, and hopefully I'll have some things to say it next week.
Yeah, I'm interested in reviews for that.
Yeah.
That one's very much... I'm going to be listening to podcasts and reading reviews. And
yeah, it's going to be difficult because it comes out on Friday. I have a pretty stacked weekend.
Yeah.
So I actually have work and a whole bunch of other shit to do. So hopefully I'll get some like decent game time in there before the next week, but I probably won't have a review for another week after that.
That's fine.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much it for me. Want to move on to the news?
Yeah, let's get on the news.
Cool. There's a lot of stuff that because I think we've been off for 2 weeks.
2-3 weeks?
2-3 weeks.
Time is a flat circle. Nothing means anything.
So there's a couple of like smaller news stories we wanted to touch on over the last couple of weeks that we should probably just mention and have a chat about.
Because some of them are interesting and good.
Yeah. So you got this one here from the average Nintendo Japan employee earns $80,000. Now, is that $80,000 US? I
think conversion rate to US.
To US, okay.
It's not 80,000 yen, because that's fuck all.
No, that's like $8 or something like that.
I think it's just $80.
I think so, yeah. Something like that. And they work less than 8 hours per day. That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's so fucking good. Good on them.
It's interesting to see what this... Because it is the average, and I think this is taken from all of Nintendo, rather than just specifically dev teams. I think it's like dev, PR, etc.
But that's still good, because that means, like, I'm guessing if they're saying, like, if people are trying to qualify it with, like, all of Nintendo, it's like, okay, cool. So then I'm assuming they took maybe the cleaning and janitorial staff into there as well.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they're probably not earning 80,000, but if they're still earning around the 60 or 50,000 like mark, like it makes me feel that, like, if that's the average, then I'm hopeful that every employee in Nintendo, regardless of whether they're making the game, they're on the camera, or wherever they are making a living wage.
Yeah.
And that's the wish.
Japan does, I know they do treat their janitors and all that pretty respectfully, and actually pay them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like a key difference between the Western world and them, is just like we treat our service workers like trash over here. So good to see that kind of stuff. And I'm hopefully it's a trend we can see go out throughout all of gaming, of like pay your employees a fucking living wage and don't fire them for no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The good news after hearing all the way.
Yeah. A little bit of hope. But yeah, speaking of Nintendo, Switch VR. I think I called this.
Everyone called it, but yeah, the specific qualifier of Labo.
Yes.
Was which just makes it Google Cardboard now.
Yes.
Except you literally strap the Switch to your face.
Yes.
And then
Yes, you do.
That's really odd.
Oh god, I can't wait to do it. Looking forward to it.
Well, hopefully you can slide in there, like just slide the screen in there, take the Joy-Cons out, and then you play it normal.
Yeah, you'd think so.
One would hope.
Well, the thing is, like, no, because like, isn't that holding it there? Because like, if you take the Joy-Cons out, doesn't it just fall? Because it's not strapped to your head.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, I'm assuming that you could, in theory, just tie some string to it and strap it to your head and do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would work. Oh well, it's a Labo.
Yeah.
I didn't think Labo did well enough for them to do this, so I don't know what the hell's going on, but...
Labo, it's not the phenomenon I think they wanted it to be, but it's hitting its stride, it's still doing stuff. Because
the thing with the Switch VR thing is I always thought that they would end up in a situation where they would actually build some sort of like plastic hardware apparatus that you do just slide the Switch into, because it's just a 720p screen. Yeah. So all it needs to do is then just run a certain processor, and then you would... fish eye the things and then do the things, and that you would just do it that way. And because it's a Switch with the sensors in it, and you could, basically, you could in theory just USB-C that thing to the dock to have, an extra bit of power on it, and the Joy-Cons are already motion sensors, you could have a fully kitted out VR set pretty easily with like a periphery add-on for like $80 or something. But they've gone the Labo way, which is like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, it means it's going to be another footnote on the Wikipedia page.
Good. Fucking who cares?
Like, I want to say Vitality Sensor, but Vitality Sensor never came out. So.
No. So what's next? Octopath Traveler. Oh, yeah, Octopath Traveler. Conqueror of the Continent, coming to mobile platform, which is cool.
Yeah. Like, I think it's a prequel. I think they said it's a prequel.
Okay. Because I thought it had some sort of like, there was some sort of caveat or added extra that made a lot of people go, ooh, because it was like some sort of change to the story.
Yeah.
Where like I believe it was just basically, there's more interaction between the characters in this one. So like, cool.
Yeah. It is free to play, and Square Enix free-to-play games are very grindy, and you take forever to get through the story.
I mean, Octopath Traveler is very grindy.
They're grindy in different ways. Like, the Square Enix games they just hold your progression.
At the end of the day, grindy is grindy.
Yeah. I think there's a different feel between JRPG grinding and then, like...
Not in this day and age, I don't think. Because the difference between JRPG grinding and mobile game grinding, like the way it is now, like the way Square Enix is like, well, with a Square Enix one, like, at least I can fucking pay my way out of this.
You can.
Whereas in like the Octopath Traveler, its biggest flaw is that, like, it does hold your progression. You can't go any further unless you sit there for hours and grind your way up. It takes ages, and it's not a simple task either, because it's not like other games or at least I didn't find anything like it, where other JRPGs where there will be some sort of like lower level enemy that will deal a lot of experience because reasons. And you can just farm those to get yourself up a little bit quicker. There's nothing like that. All of the enemies are extremely difficult and don't deal that much experience. So it's like, okay, what's the point here? Yeah. So yeah, it's a different thing.
I think the thing with the great mobile games that I have issues with is that you need specific cards or whatever the system is to progress, because they level gate everything, and unless you have good luck, you're fucked.
Right.
You can't grind out that way. You have to get in-game currency through either grinding or paying for it, which just halts you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that's why I stopped playing Mobius Final Fantasy, because I just couldn't. And then the systems just got too deep. I'm like, I just can't get the cards I need to fucking finish this story. No,
that's fair enough. But again, like, it's a mobile game, so I'm probably never going to touch it until they do.
Free play, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to touch it until they flesh it out, finish it off, take out some of the microtransaction bullshit, charge $60 for it, and throw it on the Switch, because that's what they'll do.
Probably. We'll just throw the free-play version on the Switch.
Yeah, they could do that too.
And they are doing the sequel. They confirm the sequel is in development, because they're like, sorry, the sequel's not coming out for a while. We're like, it's only been a year, mate. Like, not even. It's been 6 months. We're fine. Like,
yeah. No, but still, I am cool with a sequel existing for that game. Yeah. I want to see a sequel, so absolutely, as long as they fix up their bullshit, that's cool. Cool. Halo Infinite. An ongoing game?
A game as a service?
I could have told you that from the title.
Yeah. It's the fact there's not Halo 6.
I don't know why this isn't a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, why everyone's like,
what? It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Of course, Microsoft wants one of those. Yeah. They don't have one.
Sea of Thieves.
What?
Sea of Thieves.
Did you just swear at me? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not, because there's no, as far as I know, there is no store in Sea of Thieves. And there's no ongoing content pass. Like, it's Game Pass. That's all that sells.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know. Someone who's played Sea of Thieves, tell me. I don't know, the four of you out there. Fucking Sea of Thieves. They want one of their own. They want a Destiny. They want an Anthem. They want one that's exclusive to the Microsoft platform to be able to help them out.
Yeah.
And Halo's the one to do it. Now, the thing that I have here is that, like, what is going to be the loot in this schluter? Because if it's guns, you can have a lot of pissed people.
Yeah, the guns are pretty fucking established.
Yeah, like, you need to be able to... If you're playing a Halo game, you need to be able to switch between a plasma pistol and Needler and DMR, and then get your Promethean weapons, whatever the fuck they're called. You need to be able to switch between those. You can't just be like, no, you can only use these until you unlock this, but like that will fucking piss people off. Halo 5's card system pissed people off enough, so...
That's why, like, a Halo Battle Royale makes sense. You know the guns, drop in, pick them up, they'd be balanced different.
I'm sure this will have a Battle Royale mode in it. Especially if they're based on the fucking 12-second teaser trailer we got. But considering they're trying to use the xCloud to do more rendering and creating more of that power, and they've got the Xbox One X to work with probably as their baseline, because I'm assuming this will be coming out in the next console iteration, so you would think that the X...
They keep saying it's for Xbox One, which means it is being scaled down for the original.
I'm sure it can be scaled down for the original, but like I'm assuming this will come out alongside the new consoles. And with the X being its baseline, you would think that would be the minimum they will be hitting with the new consoles will be the X. If they go lower than the X, then that's ridiculous. Yeah. So you would think they'd be able to do something a pretty big move in that direction. Yeah. And yeah, like, I'm trying to think about what it would be, and would it just be like, I guess it'd be armor customization. Make your Spartan and or Elite look the way you want it to. But even then, like, the customization, because that was kind of the draw for their multiplayer back in like Halo 3 and 4. Yeah. Was that like you rack up the kills, get your prestiges or whatever, and unlock new armor sets for everyone, and that was kind of the drawback then. I don't know. I don't know if I want to have a weird looking Spartan. I just want the Master Chief. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Give me the Master Chief.
Yeah. I can...
Or the Lock. Or the Arbiter.
The Lock from 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, those are going to be your 3...
Yeah.
Like considering the way that the Halo 5 has gone and the way this is all going to work, that's going to be your 3 factions. You're going to have the Flood... sorry. Not the Flood, the... Covenant. You're going to have the Covenant, the Spartans, and the Master Chief of people.
That's the Spartan.
Not anymore. Did you play Halo 5?
No.
Master Chief abandoned everyone. He's not a Spartan anymore. He's a rogue Spartan.
He's still a Spartan.
Yeah, but he's rogue now. Like, he's got his own team, and they basically, like... Halo 5 basically was set up this whole thing of, like, Master Chief has gone...
Did he just big boss?
Kinda?
He just big bossed himself. Holy shit.
Kinda, a little bit.
Solid Chief?
Maybe, I don't know. Liquid Chief.
Solidus Chief.
God damn.
Mother base?
Yeah, it's, Chief.
If it's just Metal Gear Solid 5...
Yeah, but why not? Like... No, but he, yeah, like he's not he's a Spartan, but he's like a he's got his own faction, his own loyalists. So like you would be like the Master Chief faction, and then or you could just do like Covenant red blue, go like you could do it that way too. But that's the weird thing about Halo Infinite is that like are they going to just full on steal Rooster Teeth's idea with red versus blue and just make that like is that what they're gonna do? Because they kind of already kind of aped it in with Reach and stuff like that, so it's weird.
I don't know.
Halo's such a weird property now. I don't know what do they do with it.
I don't think Microsoft knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
Except make it into like 5 different TV shows.
Yeah. Make it into 5 different games. Like, you know, have your battle royale, have your loot shooter, have your standard campaign shooter.
Gears is doing that. You got your pop vinyl game.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Or I think Halo Wars 2, 3? What are they up to?
2. They only released 2.
So Halo Wars 3 and then the battle royale.
I don't know why they did Halo Wars 2, because I don't think Halo Wars actually sold that well. And as far as I'm aware, Halo Wars 2 was also a flop. Yeah. I was like, why? What are you...
They don't...
That CG trailer was pretty fucking cool, though.
Yeah. All CG trailers are cool.
Yeah, but specifically... The thing that always drives me nuts is that the coolest CG trailers are always for the games that I just don't like playing. Where it's, yeah, like the RTS games. It's like, oh man, this looks fucking sick, and then they're like, play, and they go into gameplay footage, and it's like isometric view, hexagons. You're like, oh fuck off! God damn it!
Yeah,
I don't want that shit. Anyway, more Halo news. Halo Reach is coming to the PC as part of the Master Chief Collection. It's a weird rollout though.
Yeah.
Because they're starting with Reach,
yes,
and then the rest will come.
Yes, chronologically, and then, but it's also being.
Well, that makes sense because that's all chronologically then. Because Reach is what happens first.
Yeah.
And then 1 and 2. And
like 1 to the rest are all chronological.
Yeah.
So maybe ODST.
No, ODST happens
after 3.
I'm pretty sure alongside 3.
Thought,
yeah.
So yeah, but then like, so if you own the disc by itself, you have to pay for more Reach, full Reach. But if you have Games Pass, it just is now included.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
Because I remember they gave ODST out for free to everyone who owned the disc. Like it just got patched in because the launch was so fucked. Yeah. That's super weird. But it actually makes sense if you tie it into pardon me. If you tie it into the discless Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's basically being like, do you want to pay more or do you want to just give us a lump sum of money straight up, get Game Pass, and then boom, you got all the Halos.
Which is, I keep thinking about like, I'm like, oh, I want, like this news is like very interesting. Like, do I just get an Xbox One S and just get Game Pass? I'm like, I want a 4K TV. I need a job. No one will hire me, so I can just get like a nice big fuck off TV. I'd happily pay for an X. So I can just play everything in 4K.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point in the life cycle, though, I would say it's better off just wait to the next generation. Because you'd be blowing your money.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
This and this week, I just want stuff to happen. Need time to pass.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of time between now and then, and like I just don't know how the discless Xbox is going to work.
It just
because I remember specifically
PlayStation Portable Go,
which was not carried by game retailers.
Oh, yeah, that's
they boycotted that because it was going to kill their industry. So like,
we're in a different place now where you can just buy season passes from EB and shit like that.
Yeah, I that's true, but also like the Xbox One S, this discless one, is not designed for you to buy stuff through EB or through JB. It's designed for you to be like, I have this box, now I pay Xbox $10 a month after that, and then that's it. That's all I ever do ever. It is literally designed to get people out of the stores and into the Xbox ecosystem. So like I'd be fascinated. I'm fascinated to see what retailers decide to carry this, if any.
Yeah.
And not just here in Australia, but also in the US and UK and all that kind of stuff.
At least it'll be super cheap. Like, that's the thing. I'm like,
well, see, this is the thing: is the Australia tax always kicks us in the butt. So I don't know about super cheap.
Relatively, it'll be cheaper than what's already on the market.
See, but this is the thing. This is the thing. If the Xbox One S discless launches at $250, which is Australian, which is the which was the base price for a 3DS, which is reasonable. For a home console, okay? So that launches at $250. The current standard retail price for an Xbox One S 1TB console is $399. So it's an extra $150. And not only do you get the exact same thing, you could do the exact same thing. You could buy $10 a month and do all that kind of stuff. It plays discs, and it's also a 4K Blu-ray player.
That's the hold up I forgot about. Maybe I should just get it and I could just use it as a 4K Blu-ray player. Fuck, that's not how discless things work.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm just like...
you can do 4K streaming, but like...
Yeah, I just pre-ordered my first 4K Blu-ray, and it's Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
It comes with the Blu-ray as well, which is why I spend that money, but like, I future-proof myself because I want to watch that on the TV when I get it.
But that's the thing is that I just don't know whether, unless if that thing launches at $250 in Australia and it's $399 for the 1TB, the $150 the $150 saved I don't think is enough to forego the 4K Blu-ray player.
Unless you just, how much are 4K Blu-ray players these days by themselves?
For a good one, $300-$400. Just like most like standalone Blu-ray or DVD players, like they're a lot more expensive on their own than they are thrown into something else. Yeah. Like you jam a Blu-ray player into a console and it's suddenly like $400 cheaper. Because I know my parents bought like not a 4K Blu-ray player, but a Blu-ray player not too long ago, and it was like $500.
My parents bought one, and it was like $100 max.
Yeah,
Sony just block. That's all it does.
Well, they bought like one of those high-end like Samsung ones with the touchscreen display and like the surround sound system and all this shit. It's a really nice Blu-ray player. Like it's fucking great. Like the only thing that that was the thing I was just like, why did you spend that much? I spent an extra $50 than you did, and I got a game console for it as well. Like, but you know they're not going to play games, so they don't need it. And also teaching them how to use a controller versus a remote is just.
The Xbox remote. It's probably
you. How often do you teach your parents how to use technology?
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know what they're doing.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. When your parents don't know what they're doing, it's not worth it. Let them just buy whatever they need to make it work for them. And they did that, and that's fine. So yeah, the discless Xbox One S I think is a weird thing, especially in Australia, and I'll get to why later. Yeah. EA will not be at E3 or their EA Play thing that they've done, which is really weird because like it's not even E3, it's their own thing, and they're like, nah, we're not going to talk. So like, two things: EA had a really shit year last year,
and even going over this year, except for Apex. That's like one thing that's like.
And then two. This feels like along with Sony, like Sony dropping out this year didn't feel that big of a deal to me because it's just like, well, they're ramping up for a new console. Yeah. I'll bet they announce that sometime this year, and then next year at E3 we get the games. I think
like Sony's the biggest impact one. EA, they're still there. They're still doing. They're just not doing a press conference.
But it does, like, it's one of the bigger ones. And they weren't there anyway. They've not done an E3 keynote. They do their own thing outside of E3 that's in the same parking lot or whatever. Yeah. But the thing about this that's weird, and the thing that I think is big news is that, like, E3's already been gutted without Sony. Yeah. It feels a little bit rough. So right now you're down to Microsoft as a guaranteed. We know they're there. Ubisoft will probably be there.
I know Bethesda confirmed.
Did Bethesda confirm? Because last I heard they hadn't confirmed either way yet.
I'm pretty sure earlier this week or late last week they confirmed that they're coming.
That's the one I have to see.
Yeah.
I have to see. And during the Google keynote today, they said we'll have more information in the summer, which does put E3, so maybe Google takes one of those spots.
Maybe. Or they'll probably do what Apple does, and it's hosted the same venue.
Well,
Apple used to be the same week as E3. That was weird.
No. We'll get to it in a second because I think there's something weird about that. But like the thing with EA is that they are not part of the ESA E3 event. Yeah. They are on their own, doing their own thing. Yeah. And even in that context, they have decided, no, we're not going to do a press conference.
Yeah. They're going to be doing like Nintendo Treehouse style videos in terms of like, here's FIFA.
Yeah, but even Nintendo does a 45-minute video of here's what's coming up. Yeah. They're not even doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that just says to me, EA knows that it doesn't matter what they say this year, they cannot pull themselves out of the bullshit wreckage they're in right now. Yeah. Like publicly. With public opinion, they just can't do it. Yeah. So they need to just quietly sleek away this year, let whatever games are coming out come out, and then maybe next year with new consoles and new hardware, they can do a big comeback and try and do something there. But right now as it stands, EA is just like, no.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah, I get that. The one good thing is that, like, since they are their own tree houses for each specific game, you don't have to sit through 30 minutes of sports bullshit. You can just tune in or watch the archive of the Fallen Order presentation, the Anthem update thing. You can, like, find the specific one you want, which you want to make an argument, you could just watch the press conference.
And skip ahead. You can just timestamp that shit. But also, I love the pomp and circumstance. Like, I love the dumb 30 minutes of sports where they're, like, trying to convince video gamers that sports are cool and trying to convince sports people that video games are cool, and this weird dichotomy that happens in between. I fucking love it. Like, hey, here's Pele! And everyone's like, who? Everyone's like, you remember Pele? And, like, he's like an 80-year-old football player. No one remembers him.
Yeah. So,
yeah, like that's a thing.
The only game they have really that's interesting is Star Wars, and they'll just do a Game Informer cover, I guess.
Well, they're doing an announcement at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so they'll have that.
A week, two before.
It's in April. It's like 3 weeks away.
Is it not May the 4th weekend?
No. That's a fan thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the Star Wars Celebration happens in April. It's like the announcement for that game is coming up rapidly. Yeah. So we'll see that soon. And the PS Now service is now coming to more European countries. Who fucking cares? Because it's not here.
I put it down because, like, it's expanding. It's like the first news that we have of expanding. Maybe in 6-12 months, we might get it here. I'd be happy if it's just a download service here. But
well, we'll see how that goes, because this kind of ties into the big news of the day. Literally of the day, because, like, at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, Australian time, you might want to cut here.
Yeah. No, we can think. We're just going to transition? 08. Haha, hope you like time codes, everyone. That can't fucking typo. It wasn't 1 o'clock, it was 5 o'clock, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
set my alarm for like 4:45 and then just slept through it.
Dude, any time between like 1 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning is the exact same hour. I don't fucking care.
Yeah. So if it was 1 o'clock, I would have just stayed up.
Yeah.